Rachel Reid's best-selling gay hockey romance, Heated Rivalry, is now a Crave original TV series airing on HBO Max. And we're reviewing and recapping weekly episodes here on Reader Seeks Romance Channel's Romance Roundup, the #1 romance book recs talk show. I am Liz Donatelli.
And I'm Libby K, author of the romance series Pine Grove FD. The first 3 books are available now.
Watch Romance Roundup on Reader Seeks Romance Channel and subscribe on YouTube. Listen to Romance Roundup on PodBean and all podcast apps. Hello, Libby. Have all your dreams come true this weekend?
Oh, hello, Liz. And yes, they certainly have.
So it's good to be back and in a different capacity as we will be reviewing Heated Rivalry. We're starting with season 1. I'm guessing there might be a season 2. We'll see.
God willing.
Yeah, I know, right? Season 1, episode 1, entitled Rookies. This was a lot of oral. In no particular order, we could just talk about the show and our thoughts, because anyone who's watching or listening, I presume, has already feasted their eyes on this masterpiece. I don't know if you noticed, within the first 7 to 10 minutes of episode 1, Rookies, there is intense breathing and swishing of water in mouths.
Actually, I feel like water bottle could have also been the name of the premiere episode. And I actually feel, and I'm such a nerd, I made like notes about this for visuals, for audio. So like, let's talk about it all because I'm ready to go. But yeah. I agree. The first few scenes, I felt like it was a lot of eye contact, and I felt like it was a lot of the sounds of the water bottle, the breathing while they were riding the bikes. And I will add a quick note. In the books, they are running on treadmills. And so I was surprised that I noticed that difference, like of all the things to notice right away, like my brain kind of like went, oh, that's weird. And I think I should not have reread it as close to the premiere because I could tell on my first watch, and yes, I've already done 2 rewatches in 24 hours. I could tell that my brain kept, you know how it is when you read something and then you go see the adaptation, your brain's trying to be like, well, what happens about this? And so that was one of the really silly, and it could not matter less things that for some reason my little brain picked up on. So, but no, I agree. I feel like the water bottle scene, especially like the breathing and the jostling of the water bottle. And yes, I also watched that preview last week like 16 times.
In the water bottle scene, which is relatively soon into the show, and Shane just kept looking at Ilya's crotch, and I don't remember, I don't know, it just, he looks so thirsty for it that I was like, I don't know, like when I read the book, I knew there was a lot of intense attraction, but like Shane comes off as a serious cockhound in like every scene. And what's interesting is that in the book, and this is what I miss about the book, is that there's the internal dialogue, internal monologue rather,
yes,
where you see that Shane is very he's got his heart in this. It's not that he's just horny.
Not to jump ahead, but at the very end of the second episode with his texts when he's leaving the hotel after so far the hottest scene in the show in the when Ilya was watching, that where he talked about them not being able to kiss. That was a scene that I remember vividly in the books with his internal monologue. And I've really been enjoying the text messages as a way to kind of bridge that gap, since we obviously can't have them unless it's like season 1 of Sex and the City where Carrie would talk to the camera.
Right. Yeah. I have been the texts were a real breath of fresh air because I was like, okay, great. Now we're getting into the interior of the characters. What wasn't there texting though in the book?
Yes, there was texting in the book, but I feel like he didn't, obviously he didn't send the text, but these little texts, and you can see him backing things out. And also during the locker room scene in the second episode, I feel like we're getting some of Shane's inner monologue by what he's not including. I'm anxious to see what we get from Ilya's inner monologue or, inner thoughts. I feel like a lot of the scenes with his family are kind of showing what's going on with his backstory and
Yes.
things that could be, reasons why he's built a wall up at the beginning with him and Shane. But
Right.
yeah, but no, there definitely were texts in the book because they were both, Jane and Lily and that whole
Right.
shtick.
Right. Pretending to be women. Well, pretending to be women on text in case
Yeah,
I guess the text ever got out.
yeah.
Um, One thing, like, and again, I'm kind of skipping around a little bit, I guess. Um, did Ilya have a brother in the
He
book?
did have a brother, and if memory serves, the dad never made it to the States for anything.
Oh,
Because
yes,
that
he
first
didn't.
scene
Yeah, yeah.
with his father there, and again, I think they're trying to show things that his inner monologue is not providing since it's not a book. Um,
Right.
but that, I mean, obviously his father's health issues with the dementia were in the book. And I think the difference with his brother is I just remember him calling for money. I don't remember there being like a crying baby and a wife waiting on him. Like I felt like he was more of a womanizing jackass.
But what wasn't the brother like in the scene, like doing coke, or he was like doing drugs too? Oh,
Yes, yes.
yeah.
I thought it was implied that all the money Ilya was sending was going up his nose.
I have comments about the music choices too. I know that you said you kind of nerded out in your notes about the choices. Do you at any point mention the weird music choices, particularly the Sea Lion song?
Yes, the Sea Lion song was my least favorite.
Okay. Did you like here's the thing. If I find myself singing along to the song and not paying attention to the scene, there's a problem.
Yes. And the other problem was when I watched it the first time, because I guess I'm getting older, I still kept closed captioning on, and I found that I was reading the lyrics to the song, which was taking me out of the moment because again, the song was distracting.
Well,
But
right.
yeah.
Who is the sea lion? What is the reference? And I don't know if Rachel Reid had anything. Rachel Reid, for anyone who missed the intro, is the author of Heated Rivalry, which is actually book two in the Game Changers series. Heated Rivalry, I believe, is the most popular, or at least the
Yes.
steamiest. Yeah.
I think
Uh,
it's the most popular, and I feel like, especially with Ilya's character, I mean, Shane's referenced in all of them too, but Ilya actually has like not a big role, but he is in each of the other books. And he is either a
okay.
support or a teammate or an instigator turned support system. So I
Okay.
feel like that I read the first one first because you know me, I got to read them in order like a big old nerd.
Yeah.
And I just remember the few scenes with Ilya were enough that I was like, I need to know what's happening in Heated Rivalry. Because not to
Yeah.
brag, and for those of you who are not watching, I have the original mass market paperback because yes, I was here from the beginning, folks.
Libby did not jump on any bandwagons. Um, I guess I would say neither have I, because we both read it
Hmm.
for After Hours Columbus, Ohio Book Club.
Yes,
And I
yes.
think it's when we did online briefly just to do the after hours because it was supposed to be us talking about, stuff that couldn't be talked about in public. And you were the one who picked Heated Rivalry, right?
Yeah.
And we read it, and I think it was unanimous. We all just devoured and adored uh Heated Rivalry. And of course I had made a promise to read all the books and then decided to just keep reading other hockey books and other romances. But this was what would you say, 3 years ago,
Oh
perhaps?
yeah, at
Something
least,
like
at
that, 3 years
least.
ago. Yeah.
And it's
Yes.
fun because some people that I've met, readers that we have, it's mostly hockey romances that we have in common, or MM romances. But it is so much fun having all these conversations lately since even the show was just announced and that little tiny teaser trailer came out months ago. It's honestly part of the fun is experiencing it with other people who are obsessed, whether they're recent converts or, have been there since the beginning. And it is just it's like it almost feels like it's getting like a cult following right now. Like it's everywhere. I think it was number 2 on HBO this weekend. Like
Oh, I believe it.
people are here for it. So am I, obviously. But there's also, and I don't know if you felt the same way, but like we were traveling for the holiday, and so I didn't get a chance to watch it the night it premiered. I had to
Right.
wait a whole day and a half. But there was almost something about watching it that was like I was nervous because I've reread it a bunch of times. You know, these are characters and a series that I feel like I know, pretty well, even though
Yeah.
they're not real people. And there was just a moment at the first scene where Ilya's just smoking and you hear the clicking of the lighter. And I was like my heart like leapt. I'm like, oh my God, please don't be bad. Like I need this to be good.
Yeah. I had forgotten that he's a heavy smoker. So at
Yes.
first I was like, wait a second, is that him? Is he smoking? It was electrifying from the first minute of the episode to the end. And then I was like, well, we could get a little bit more into episode two in a bit, but I was thoroughly entranced. And we can get back to the sea lion later because I still want to know who the sea lion is.
Yes, I have no, and we should Google it. I bet it's like maybe it's like a euphemism for something, and then we'll fall
Well,
down
I
a
mean,
Google rabbit
sea
hole.
lions, I mean, a euphemism. I mean, I don't, maybe because they were sea lioning each other, like the way they were going down on each other.
I want to know
Um,
what that means.
I like, like,
Yeah. Actually,
I
maybe they were sea lining in each other.
maybe they were sea lioning. Every scene, both the actors, so I should mention so that way there's no confusion. Shane is played by Hunter Williams,
Mhm.
and Ilya is played by, oh my God,
No, wait,
James?
it's Hudson, not Hunter.
Oh my God, not Hunter. Hudson?
Hold on. I wrote it down
Who's
because,
Hunter?
hold on, or I have it on my phone here. Give me a second.
Oh, you're right. It's Hudson. You're right. You're right. I just looked at
Yes,
my
yes,
notes.
yes. Hudson Williams is Shane, and Connor Story is Elia.
Okay. Those are the actors. So if we mention them, that's who we're talking about. Hudson Williams, I thought that he played Shane expertly
Yes.
because there's this you get so much from his body language about him being introverted and about playing hockey and not about the celebrity that goes with it, even though he does endorsements and stuff. But he does such a good job saying so much with his eyes, with his posture. Same thing with Connor. The heat in their eyes like freaking melts the screen.
The chemistry is unbelievable.
The
To be a fly
chemistry,
on the wall during their chemistry reads, I mean, I would have given good money to see that.
oh my God. And Connor is not Russian.
You will not be so nice when we beat you.
Yes, that blew my mind because I saw an interview where he
Yeah.
talked about he thanked his dialect coach and there was all these reactions that were just like me like, wait, he's not Russian because his accent, even like his facial expressions felt I mean, not that I hang out with a lot of Russians, but I felt like his facial expressions were very much, they
Oh yeah.
felt like very, Eastern European.
Well, that's just it. Everything about his mannerisms. And then I thought to myself, oh, okay, well, if he's not Russian, he must be at least like British or something. He's straight up American with an American accent, like a total American,
Hmm.
and doing this fantastic Russian accent. I was just like, I think he should get an Emmy
Or
just.
whatever Canada's Emmy is.
Oh, that's right. Yes, because this is a Canadian production. This is a Crave original, which I had never heard of prior to Heated Rivalry.
And see,
Um,
I only know it from Letterkenny and Shoresy, which are Jacob Tierney, the writer and director's shows.
yes.
And I have to tell you, I I feel like some of the shots when they were playing hockey, there is something about like the lighting and the angles. I felt like I was watching a scene from Letterkenny or Shoresy, only they wasn't hilarious.
Okay. Well, that I was going to say that those two shows are comedies. I can't say that there's any real comedy in the book or so far on the page, yeah, on the screen.
Yeah, like
So
I feel
yeah.
like there's like silly, not silly, but like slightly humorous moments, like when I made a note of this on the second episode when Ilya is texting Shane in the locker room asking how many times he thinks he could come in an hour. And you see Shane like, trying to decide if he wants to take it seriously. And then he just ends up saying, I don't know, twice. And there was just something like it felt so, and again, Hudson did such a good job of that like slightly awkward and intimidated and he seems to be master of his hockey domain and everything else he just seems not awkward but just out of his element. And so I just felt there was so much in that little interaction that was kind of lighthearted and endearing, and I felt like Connor's portrayal of Ilya was great with kind of how he made that little smile, and their banter, I feel like for both episodes was spot on. And there was
Yeah,
just something, it just kept it made it feel like real people. And I'm not saying there's not banter in romance movies and shows, but books always just hit differently. And I felt like that charm that Rachel Reid wrote is really coming through so far
it
in the
is.
first two episodes.
The episode that we might as well just get into, which has a lot of their texting, their text ship, as I
Yes.
wrote in my notes, episode 2, Olympians, because they end up in the Olympics, you know, playing for their home countries. So Shane for Canada and Ilya for Russia. But what I wanted to mention before I forget is how involved, because you've been following Rachel Reid's socials, how involved is Rachel in the show? Because this is the most faithful and satisfying so
Mhm.
far adaptation of a romance novel that I have seen in a long time. So, or maybe even ever. So, I mean, how involved do you know?
I mean, from what I can tell, I'm guessing very because she has been on the press junkets. I've seen clips of Connor and Hudson at bookstores with her
Yes.
signing books. So
Yeah.
I feel like and again, obviously you're going to promote something any way you can to get viewers, but I feel like the interviews I've seen with her and Jacob Tierney, he is obviously a fan. This wasn't one of, it kind of gives me, not exactly the same, but it gives me comparable vibes to how Shonda Rhimes was with Julia Quinn and Bridgerton several years ago when that started. The
Right.
way she describes the characters and falling in love with the series is kind of reminiscent of what I've noticed with the interviews of Rachel with Jacob. So I'm taking that to mean she had a lot of say. Because it would seem kind of weird to like have her go on this whole dog and pony show if she didn't actually have a lot of say. And again, I know that the credit says
Mm.
based on the book series by Rachel Reid, but I'm getting the impression that she really has had a lot of, involvement. Because the other thing is when they did the teaser trailers a couple months ago, she was already doing photo shoots with Connor and Hudson. And that doesn't seem like something you're always going to see. I get the
Yes.
impression, using my Bridgerton example, I think Julia Quinn is involved, but obviously there have been great changes to those books. And I just feel like that was more of the rights were sold, I give you my blessing. This feels like the rights were sold, and yeah, I'm going to be involved.
They're doing a really good job of tying the movie personas with the book characters. I haven't watched all the interviews, but there's a ton of little clips and interviews online with them.
Oh my gosh, you could, and I know they referenced YouTube rabbit holes, and I forgot. I mean, I know that the show takes place like 15 years ago when it starts or whatever, but the scene with him and his dad where he's explaining what YouTube and rabbit holes are, I thought was very cute. And it reminded me that, yes, this was taking place in like the early 2010s, after the initial meet in 2008. So,
Right.
yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah, I fell down a lot of rabbit holes I mean, still am. I'm sure as soon as we're done recording this, I'll fall down another one before the third episode premieres.
for anyone who I don't know who's listening or watching this recap and hasn't watched episodes 1 and 2, there's this timeline of chronicling their relationship. Basically has been, a lot of hookups when their teams
Mhm.
play each other, and the book goes more into the developing feelings.
This is a perfect segue to the only part I did not like, but I
Oh,
understand why they had to do it.
okay. Do tell.
So in the second episode, when Ilya and Svetlana go into that back room and Sasha, the coach's son, was there,
Okay, yeah.
we never hear from the coach's son in the book series. Like that's not, we don't meet him. And I had seen the publicity stills with him and Svetlana in this like ornate bathroom or something. And I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And then as soon as he made the comment about, or she made the comment like, for someone who's the son of a hockey coach, you sure don't know hockey. I literally, and my poor husband can attest because he watched it with me. I literally like jumped to the edge of my seat and I'm like, you don't touch him. I was so angry because I feared they were going to try to add some BS love triangle. And I have to tell you, Liz, I panicked for a solid 30 seconds.
I believe you did. I
Yeah.
believe it. I immediately said to myself, this was not in the book. Like I said, this couldn't have been in the book. Because one thing, Svetlana, who is because Ilya is bisexual. Svetlana is a friend of his who he on and off would, I guess, sleep with.
Yeah.
And she's And Svetlana is going on and on about hockey because apparently her father is what, the minister of hockey? I didn't follow
Well, and see, and
that,
that's the
but
thing in the books. She is Russian, obviously, but
yeah.
her father was a player, and that's how she has. And so you
Oh,
never actually see her in Russia, from what I remember. It's
right.
always their hookups in the States.
Correct. That's what
And
I
so
thought
that was
too.
the other thing. I'm like, this is kind of interesting, but I feel like they had to have that Sasha moment because I feel like that we needed to see what we're not getting with the internal dialogue with Ilya. We had to see that he's starting to have feelings for Shane because and again, it's nothing against their acting because they're both knocking it out of the park. But I feel like with the way Shane's scenes are written, there's more opportunity for him to have either whether it's the text or the facial expressions. With Ilya, I feel like we get those little tiny moments, but I feel like that scene, in my opinion, was written to show, okay, he's all in or he's at least taking it seriously.
Yeah.
In terms of his hookups. So yeah, I was worried, and then within a minute and a half, I'm like, okay, time to breathe and not be angry. So I can understand why they did it, and but it still scared the absolute hell out of me.
I didn't even think of the possibility of them introducing a love triangle in that scene. I immediately thought to myself, wait a second. I said, what's going on here? It's like,
Mhm.
what's going on here? And then I was like, well, wait a second. Maybe he kisses him a little bit and then steps away. But I did not at all think it was going to get to a point of, sex in that lounge or wherever they were.
I
Um,
hoped not, but oh God, I was so nervous.
yeah, no, I was never, I was a little bit concerned for a few seconds, that there would just be a heavy makeout, but I had faith that Ilya would not go all the way. And I agree that scene, even though it felt a little disorienting, it was like, where did this scene
Mhm.
come from? Why is Sasha here? Svetlana knows everything about hockey. Why is she going on about hockey? When all that was disorienting me, I did really, really like that it put him it established his feelings for Shane, or at least the possibility he has feelings for
Mhm.
Shane.
Yes.
Again, we are deprived of the internal monologue, which I have to I still really, really miss because someone who maybe didn't read the book looks at it and it's like, oh, this is just one big F fest. Like these
Yes.
people, right?
Yes. And that's what worries me for people who haven't read the book. And it's so funny. So my sister likes romance books, not nearly to the degree that I do, but she's also a hockey fan. And so we talked about it over Thanksgiving, and she said, okay, you win. She's read some of the other hockey romances I've recommended. She's like, I forgot my copy. She's like, bring your copy. I'll borrow it. And I'm like, oh, hell. So she's going to get her own copy. I'll pay for it myself, Kathleen, if you're listening. And she said she wants to read it before she watches it. Because I told her, I said that the charm of this book, for lack of a better word, for me has always been the emotional connection that you get from the internal dialogue. You can't, unless they turn into Ferris Bueller or Carrie Bradshaw, you're not going to have that moment of like, oh, did I tell you this? You're not going to
Right.
get that. And I feel like they're doing a good job showing it for the most part. But I feel like, and again, my husband went into this with a totally different opinion of what we were going to be watching. But, he even said, he's like, the pacing seems fast for this. What's going on? And then I'm like, well, how much time do you have? Because I'm happy to just read you the damn book. But yeah, so I feel like that is something. So if you're watching this or listening and you haven't read the book, like do yourself a favor. It's so freaking good. You're gonna hate yourself when it's done because you're gonna want to read it again for the first time. But yeah, that is
Yeah.
the only thing, and it's impossible. No, but I'm not saying it's anybody's fault. How do you take so much emotion and put it on, when it's internal and not actual dialogue?
I'd love to know, and I'll see if there's any behind the scenes on any direction that they were given either by the director or Rachel about conveying all of those unspoken moments through their looks because
Hmm.
these actors are given so much. I don't know what it's called, face and body acting. That shower scene. Okay, yes. Was it titillating? Yes. But the want and the desire and the unspoken flirtation and
Hmm.
almost daring, like, come
Yes.
on, like let's do it,
Yes.
like, oh my God, it's like they're acting their asses off.
No, I mean they're killing it, and that was one of the first scenes I thought of when the adaptation was announced. I'm like, how the hell are they going to do some of these scenes? Giddy up, because this was probably one of the sexiest things I've ever seen on television.
It's very graphic, which is why I opened the episode with there was so much oral. I mean, we're talking about like pretty graphic to the point where I started to wonder, like, are they doing a little bit
Yeah,
of
like
method acting? I
yeah,
don't.
like I'm like, are things, I don't want to say, well, I won't say because I don't want to be crude, but yeah, are like
Yeah.
things
Are things
happening
popping
or
up?
yeah, popping up, knocking into each other? Like, what do we got going on here? It's funny because I feel like, yes, it's obviously sexy and steamy as hell. But again, they're acting, there's a level of intimacy in these interactions that makes it feel not like it's just like cheap sex for the sake of sex.
Right.
So I hope that I'm sure that will continue because how could it not as the story develops? But
Right. Right.
yeah, I definitely I feel, and that's something I noticed. Again, falling down rabbit holes. I fell down a rabbit hole and was watching people's reviews of the first two episodes, and intimacy kept coming up as the big trend I noticed where people were like, "This is intimate. This is not just, you know, a lot of sound effects and
Right.
blood."
Right. Although some of the slurping sound effects when they were drinking water, I just even like there was some other loud like like sweaty sounds. I started to like get a little like I'm one of those people. I don't know what it is. When I hear too much mouth noises, I start to get a little like, ooh, I recoil. So
I could, yeah.
I had to fight it. I had to fight it so I could stay in the moment with Ilya and Shane. But what did you think? How well done was the press conference scene?
I loved the press conference scene, but my only thing was, and again, I've read the book a million times. Did people understand that didn't read the book that he was struggling to understand the questions? I felt like that came across pretty well. When I watched it with Trent K, my husband, he said, "Is he not listening?" Like he thought he was more distracted from the stuff with his dad and his brother, and he wasn't listening. And I'm like, no, he doesn't understand, and that's why, they were kind of Shane was kind of bailing him out on some of those. So I picked up on that. I'm sure other people picked up on it. But
Right.
I thought that was just so well done. And I loved the award show with their cheesy, because that, it was written awkwardly on purpose in the book. And so I was like, I hope it's not too like, and again, the way it was filmed, it gave me like a Shorzy slash Letterkenny vibe. And I'm like,
Ah,
okay, because it was kind of, it was silly. And I'm like, maybe that's just because I know that that's, something that Jacob Tierney does. But
right.
no, it was just those were two of my like lighthearted favorites, I guess.
Them co-presenting an award at the I don't know, the hockey the hockey league association awards.
Yeah.
Was that in the book? Where and
Yes.
apparently, yeah, yeah,
And
I had
he does
forgotten.
the selfies. And if memory serves, that selfie comes up in The Long Game, which is their sequel book. So, in
Okay.
a very sweet way. So, yeah.
Okay.
Going
Right.
back to casting, I think the casting for like Hayden and JJ and Scott Hunter is fabulous. I feel like the demeanor of, and I don't know the actor's name, but the guy who plays Hayden Pike, I think is perfect. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
hoping we get to see more of his and Shane's friendship because it obviously is very important throughout the story, but also especially in the long game. And God willing, this will be a full series and we can actually get to see all the characters.
At one point, I wrote in caps, "Love this. It's like the book." I wrote one note that just says "slurping wet." Oh, wait a second. That was what was on the screen. I wasn't describing my situation or anything. I do miss internal monologue. Sea Lion song is a weird choice. All roads lead back to the Sea Lion song. Who do you think the Sea Lion is? Why was this song chosen? I need to know.
Well, and I don't know anything about it. Is it like a Canadian artist? Is this something where it's a nod from like Jacob Tierney and because Rachel Reid's Canadian, I believe. Like, is that a
Yes.
nod that like it's a Canadian artist they're trying to get some exposure to?
I
Or,
mean, is this the #1 song in Canada?
I mean, I bet it is now.
It is now. Well, if anyone knows the meaning behind the Sea Lion song, I probably should have done some research, but
It was very noticeable with the closed captioning on, and I'm glad I turned it off for my second rewatch because I wasn't, I mean, I obviously heard it, but I wasn't as like, what the hell does this mean?
yeah. Yeah, yeah. You know what I was a little surprised, like pleasantly surprised at? I figured that the sex talk, the dirty talk was going to be played down. Even though it is HBO, I figured, oh, like this is pushing it. But man, there were the lines like, do you like sucking my cock?
Yeah.
Which, you know, there was one about when they're doing the text exchange. And
Yes.
I wrote down 9 goals for each inch of dick you want. That
Yeah.
was that was mentioned. So I was really glad that I was like, oh my God, this is like reading the book. Like these
Yes.
it's a bold production. This whole
Yes.
series is a bold production. It is, in my opinion, faithful to the
Mhm.
to the text.
And another thing I wrote in my old school notes, because for some reason I didn't type it up, I felt like the lighting was very dark on HBO, and I fell down again another rabbit hole. We should have a rabbit hole graphic for this whole episode. I noticed that people were commenting that if they had screenshots next to each other, Crave's scenes were dark, but not that dark. Because there was, I
Okay.
forget which sex scene it was, but there was one where it just felt like it was a silhouette, and I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be a silhouette. And then when I saw the comparison to the Crave screenshot, it was like night and day. Literally, like how much you could see of their faces. And so I feel
Mhm.
like that's something we're missing on HBO is the potential for some, passionate eye contact or something that we're not getting because the lighting was off.
Yeah, I wonder if is that their way of getting away with showing a lot of graphic sex without it
But this
maybe
is
seeming.
HBO. I mean,
Yeah,
again, Sex and the City is like the first thing I remember watching back in the day on that channel. And
true.
I know it's not the same, but we see a
Yeah,
bunch of naked ladies,
yeah,
and acts and simulations of acts. And I feel like
right.
it's HBO. Like, I don't know.
This reminds me of the great Game of the game. This,
Yes. Oh my
this
God, exactly.
this
Game of
reminds me
Thrones
of
is
the
nothing
Game of
but
Thrones
butts.
issue. Remember, there was this really popular episode. I forgot which one. It was like down to the last few episodes of the series, and people said that it was so dark. The one episode that they couldn't see
Yes.
it, which I remember, and Tom and I were like, "What's going on? We can't see anything." So I don't know. Is this like an HBO glitch thing that happens? With it being so dark. I mean, I'm hoping that future episodes won't be so dark because there were times I was like, I just make out the outlines of their faces. What's
Yes,
happening?
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Yeah. And it's like, I know they're doing something and I want to
I
see
can
every,
hear it.
every second. Yeah. Yes. I hear it for sure. Oh, I put a couple things. I put Ilya tells Shane to get on bed. Ilya sits in chair facing bed, wants Shane to touch himself for him. I thought that was hot. That was
That
hot.
him dragging that chair
The
into the other
chair,
room,
man.
Jesus Christ.
Give me a good chair drag.
Well, and I felt like they did that scene well because the one of the things I remember when I read the book was the
Mm,
description of like how Ilya's hands were like digging into the chair rest and like how he was like losing control. And
yeah.
I felt like Connor did a good job portraying that scene.
And also kind of playing it cool still. Still
Yes.
kind of playing it like a little aloof, to some degree.
Yes,
Like,
I
ooh,
felt like that was perfect. The only thing I missed is I remember in the book, he gives Shane the vodka afterwards, and Shane makes a comment that he wishes he had cranberry juice. And they make a joke about that. Like, if you put cranberry juice, that'll kill you or something, off the
yeah,
cuff. But I kind those little things I kind of miss because like he was making fun of Shane during the whole dildo conversation when he's like, I have a thing. You have a what? What's a thing? Like that
yeah.
was in the book. And then there was another, and maybe it'll come up in another episode, but I just remember when they were talking about their sexual histories, and Shane's like, "Well, I'm not a virgin. I'm not a virgin," even though he hadn't been with other men. And then Ilya says, "All right, Mr. Lots of Sex." I wanted that on screen so bad. It's just I every time I reread it, I'm always like, I need that scene. So I'm hoping maybe it'll come up later.
I love that you though have reread and reread, especially close to this recording, because I feel like it's good to have a source, you know, like you.
Well, it's good that this is finally coming in handy because otherwise it's useless.
I know this this is your time to shine.
Yeah.
Overall, I mean, just really satisfying, absolutely satisfying. 2 episodes. Like, I figured the first one would be good. I was like, oh, the second probably would just be like a filler episode. Man, every second
No.
counts.
I feel the opposite. I mean, I liked them both a lot, but I feel like they're improving. Like I felt like the second there was just something about the pacing maybe. And again, I feel like at the beginning of the book there were things that were cut that I missed, but I'm sure most people don't. but I feel like
Yeah.
it's getting better. Like just the way that they did the cliffhanger with his texts after the hotel scene. I don't know. I cannot wait to see. And I forget what the name of the third episode is. I saw it and now I'm forgetting what
Oh,
it's
good
called.
question. They seem to be one word. Rookies, Olympians. What do you think the next one is?
Ooh.
Oral.
Well, we've already had
Oh,
that one.
do you think it's Sea Lions? Is Sea Lions the name of the next episode?
Oh my, I just opened up IMDb to search. It has an 8.8 star rating. That's really high. That's like
Wow.
Game of Thrones high.
Yeah, wow. So episode 3, why don't I can't find a name for it.
Oh yeah, it just says episode 3.
It just
Damn
says
it, I need
episode 3. Do you think that's what it's called? It's just episode 3?
Oh, episode 4 is called Rose, so we all know what's going to happen there. Episode
Actually, I
5
don't
is
remember that. What is going to happen? Who's
Rose
Rose?
is the actress that Shane dates.
Oh, I forgot about
Uh-huh.
that.
Uh-huh. Oh, if we're meeting Rose in episode 4, that makes me think that next episode might be the tuna melt scene. And I will literally
No.
just melt into a puddle of goo and you'll have to do the recap show without me. That is the scene right before he, oh my God, it has to be that. Liz, if it's not that, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go insane.
Yeah, okay, all right. You're getting me anxious now. Stop. It's too much. I think episode 3 must be just called episode 3.
Well, I'm wondering if it's going to be called Tuna Melt and they're not telling us till Friday because they know that I won't be able to have a work week and a life until then.
Okay, so you think it's going to be tuna melt?
God, I hope so.
I still think it might be sea lions.
Yeah, totally off script. They're just out like in San Francisco at the wharf looking at all the sea lions, just having like longing looks at each other.
Oh man, their looks, man. Listen, I would not be surprised to learn that the two of them have an off-screen romance.
Oh my God, I hope they do. I mean, and if they don't, then they really deserve whatever a Canadian Emmy is.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. What is it called? Like the Maple Leaf Award? It's the Trudeau Award.
They just get a big bottle of maple syrup.
They get maple syrup, yeah.
Apologies to our Canadian listeners.
I apologize for nothing.
Yeah.
Tune in next week to Romance Roundup when we discuss episode 3. We do not know what the title is.
And God willing, it's tuna melts.
Fingers crossed for sea lions. Let's end with a random note that I wrote for episode 1, Rookies. I wrote down, hot bodies, puts them in Shane's mouth, Shane blowing him.
Good night, everybody.